Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big games in the VCT yesterday. NRG getting a dominant victory up against FURIA. We still live into, but a dominant loss goes the way of Bleed and Yay. What is going on with Yay right now in this Bleed team? Loads of drama, loads of issues it seems, and lots of discussion as to exactly why they are just so bad and whether there is any chance that Yay can ever get back to his best in this roster and this situation. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, here from Sadak, because he is not happy about the map rotation right now. We have seen lots of discussion on this over the coming days, whether changes are necessary and changes need to be made. He reckons Pearl and Haven back into the map pool. He's not happy with the way that it currently is. He says that it's the worst map rotation that I've played in Valorant, already boring for me. I can't imagine it for you, the fans. Let Haven and Pearl return. It had more tactical variety and was more fun to play, which I definitely don't disagree with. And but Zelsis says maybe not Haven, maybe Fracture instead. There's a few teams that would agree with this. I understand why Sadak and Loud won't. You guys remember like when Optic would play them in their prime, and we'll discuss Yay, of course, who was on that team in a second. That was one of the maps that they tended to beat Loud on, was the Fracture, and Sadak's like, yeah, please no Fracture. But yeah, Fracture and Pearl, Zelsis would like to see himself back in the pool. There's also this quickly from Woot right on Heretics. I think they play in 2 or 3 days against BBL, and the intention was that he'd be able to get his visa sorted and be back in time, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening. So yeah, tough start to the season for Heretics, as he confirms, yeah, high probability I'm not going to be able to play in the games. The Patty Tech will be stepping in and continuing onwards. This is just how things look as well in EMEA in terms of championship points leaderboard. So you get 1 point for victory. The other team that got points was KC, because they won at their own region earlier on, therefore they got 3 points for that. The leaders worldwide, of course, are Sentinels, because they got 3 points for winning their own region, and they got the only 3 points available for winning Masters Madrid. It was confusing to me that at Masters Madrid there was only points for World Championship qualification for the winners, but I think for Sentinels, the fact that they already have plenty of points on the board is, yeah, there should be no concern for those guys to qualify. But in EMEA, of course, it's all to play for, because, you know, teams like Fnatic not winning their own region, not making it to Masters Madrid, they've only got 1 point on the board so far. So, you know, being top 4 here is obviously a pretty big deal. But let's talk about a couple of these regions. Firstly, Edward Gaming, they took down Tyloo yesterday with a 2-0. That was a 13-5 Sunset, 13-10 on the bind. So again, relatively comfortable for Edward Gaming. They sit 2-0 in their group so far. The other game, I believe, was this one between Titan Esports Club and Dragon Ranger Gaming, who get the victory 2-0. So yeah, the Chinese scene continues to trend in that way. Or 2-1, sorry, because it was 13-7, 13-5 on the Icebox in the end. And they now find themselves 1-2 with their first victory of the season in that group. Chinese region looking pretty competitive, outside maybe of Edward still looking the strongest. And then, of course, we've got Trace and FPX on the other side. All of those teams are undefeated. So that's going to be good for me to see, like when Edward play up against, you know, FPX, and when Edward certainly play against TE, which is the final game on May the 5th. That's going to be quite telling for how that region is trending. But also we've got the Pacific, because, man, what a team we have in this Bleed Esports roster. Before we get there, Team Secret, they took down Zeta 2-1. So finally, a good victory here for Team Secret. They have been struggling a fair little bit. And in the end, every map here was relatively comfortable, and Zeta in the end go down. So pretty rough loss for Zeta, all things considered. But yeah, Team Secret get the victory in the end. They won their map picks, and then the Sunset was dominated on that attacking side by Team Secret. Zeta tried to mount a comeback, but it wasn't going to happen. 13-7 in the end. But that series at least went game 3. This series did not. Now, RRQ deserves some credit, because they were not as much of a laughingstock as DFM, obviously. Nobody could be that bad last year. Detonation Gaming. But they weren't too far away, to be honest, at times, and weren't considered to be especially impressive. However, this year, they are starting off better. But I think this is more a story of Bleed, because these guys come into the season with lots of optimism around, of course, their play, where they're going to be in the future. They won the Ascension side. They bring in Yay. They, you know, build the roster around him. Now, sure, unfortunately for them, they couldn't get quite the roster that they wanted fully, because, like, Crazy Guy was unable to play, and they got rid of Egoist for various questionable reasons. But they got slammed this series. I think it was bad. And I honestly think what Sliggy, I'm about to chef you guys in a second, I think he's on the money here. Like, when you watch these guys play, there doesn't seem to be any confidence. Like, they come out onto that stage almost accepting the reality that they've already got to have lost. And it's like, at this point, is it a yay trend? Because we saw similar results with Disguised for sure. You know, it's obviously a trend. Is it just a coincidence? There's probably more to it than that. But also, is it just EA's fault? No. I think, like, there's a lot to be said for the coaching staff over there, for the decision makers. Bazest had 2 kills map 1. Ye had 5 on the Lotus on their pick. Like, they started off on their pick and they lost 10 rounds straight on their defensive side of Lotus. Like, that is just so bad. And then the Icebox was, you know, also pretty shambolic as well, 13-5, and the series was quickly over. So this was just so ugly, and I thought it was interesting, like, MCE, this guy, you know, he holds a grudge. You've got to respect how petty this guy gets sometimes. But of course, former coach of Cloud9, he actually said this, you know, once upon a time, Legia, of course, former CS player, now he is coach, I think he was coaching Big, wasn't he, in CS for some time, but now he's coaching Bleed, of course. He talked loads of trash about a bunch of NA coaches, saying how we didn't know what we were doing and how we were wasting players. Coaches included were myself, James IRL and Kaplan. RIQ looked super clean, Bleed not together at all, so effectively throwing the dagger in there on the Bleed coach, and certainly criticism is deserved.
The dive bomb, but he's repositioned.
There's
just no time on this.
But time is ticking
away. Holy, well,
NRG,
they got 7 rounds in 2 maps.
Victory in their first match of week 2, getting another on the board. It's beautiful, it's clean.
30 kills as well.
From RRQ, the game plan.
RRQ looked great though. Like, in terms of what I saw from them, really impressive. And Bleed, yeah, got a lot to work on. I think this is going to be a really rough year, man.
I mean, I wouldn't care at all. I mean, yeah, as an IGL, you got to be happy that your reads were correct.
They play Zeta on Tuesday.
Keep up the momentum, never let it go over.
I have the spike.
And there's some
Did I watch Bleed?
Here.
What do I think is the issue? Oh man,
good util for crew. He's just making too much.
a lot of issues, bro. You know what was the main issue that I saw? They just looked defeated walking out. Like, they actually, you know how people always talk about vibes, and everyone's like vibes, and it's like vibes are really important. Bro, there is no vibes there. There is anti-vibes in that team. Negative vibes. They're in the minuses for vibes.
One of the interesting things to me about this game thus far is just...
So is there going to be another uptick in this graph? Or is it just over? You know, like, because this is the Ye timeline that I saw on Reddit yesterday, going from Anbox to Envy to Opta Gaming, winning everything. They're not making franchising. Cloud9 was worse. Disguise was pretty much as bad as it gets, but Bleed is somehow even worse than that. So I guess we should just have a look, right? I know that it's ugly, but we've got to have a look at Ye's match history, because... yeah, I mean, I'm not even really going to comment so much. I'll just look at the date. 15th of February 2023 was the last time that he got a victory. Since then, it has not been pretty, and it doesn't seem to be like it's going to turn around anytime soon. So what do Bleed need to do? Is the team just completely busted? What changes they need to make? Because, you know, at some point you would have expected a player like Ye, given his heritage and his pedigree, to be on this type of list. Most eliminations in a map in the partnership era. Aspas, Depp, Narrate, Monyet and Keiko, they're getting on the top 5 spots. Of course, Aspas the other day was a monster game in that crazy overtime. But you'd have thought that Ye wouldn't have been far away from this. Ye is obviously nowhere near this list because he hasn't been around the partnership era much. And now he is in the era. The team is terrible. So, very much interested in your thoughts in the comment section below. Just quickly mention as well, though, of course, we have to discuss the series in the Americas, because NRG, they got a very impressive victory yesterday, and it continues their success so far. I really want to see when NRG play a very competent team to see how they're going to fare. Now, yes, they did play loud. They are a competent team, but there were extenuating circumstances there. Whereas when NRG play Sentinels, when NRG play potentially Lev, maybe even when NRG play Cloud9, as we'll discuss, then that could be very interesting. The first series, though, was Crew versus MIBR, and yeah, Crew get the victory. They're looking kind of nice, I'm not going to lie. 13-6, 13-8 it was in the end. Pretty comfortable. They've obviously got some talent here. It's cool to see that Heat is turning up as well, given the mixed nationality roster. But yeah, Kesnit and Heat, those guys, I think I've been very impressed by both of those players for quite some time now. And yeah, there was a bit of trash talk leveled Kesnit's way. Can he do it on the duelist? But look, he runs the Reyna and makes it work very well indeed. So yeah, Crew get the dub. But this was the series to me that shows some serious intent here from NRG, because FURIA are not great. and I'm not going to pretend that they are. But NRG really crushed them this series. Like, this was emphatic, and it was very interesting to see Victor absolutely dominate as well. He actually ran the Raze and then the Cypher because, you know, there was a question coming into the season, and for good reason. Could Victor and Crashies as a duo, even Victor Crashies Mart, would they be able to maintain those levels? You know, are they going to be washed up? Are they not going to be the players they previously were from the Optic days, of course, when they had lots of success alongside Yay and alongside FNS? Of course, both of those players no longer really making any impact, let's say, on a high level. FNS is making more impact, though, on the scene right now than Yay is, because, you know, making some great content and all this. But Demon 1 also wanted to mention 52% headshot rate. Crashies weren't far behind with 50, but, yeah, 52% headshots is pretty nuts. 9 in 3 first kill the first deaths. I know there was talk about Demon 1, like, oh, this guy's fallen off, he's not the player that he once was. Don't seem like there's much evidence to suggest that for me, because he fried them today, and the split was 13-2. FURIA won the first 2 rounds, and on their pick, they then lost 13 straight. Winning 13 rounds straight on your opponent's team's pick is embarrassing for them, but it's also just devastatingly effective. And this is like what I come to expect with NRG. In practice, they will either lose or split rounds. In matches, it's a different story. And honestly, this game on their breeze, 13-8, this looks closer than it actually was. Like, honestly, NRG lost no gun rounds here. The only rounds that they lost were the pistols and rounds where they did not have a full buy. When it was a full buy, I don't think NRG lost a round. Maybe they lost one, but, like, they crushed them. Like, this 13-8 does not really tell the story of how crushing a victory this was for NRG. So, yeah, FURIA are not fantastic at all, but NRG deserves lots of credit because the way they've started out their season now, going from smashing Loud 2-0 to now smashing FURIA 2-0. And as I said a little while ago, when they lost to Sentinels, you know, if they'd have beaten Sentinels, who knows? They'd have made it to Masters Madrid. They might have won Masters Madrid. Like, it's possible that NRG are like the second best team in the world. But, you know, obviously, they didn't win that particular series. So just to look at their upcoming games, they play Lev, MIBR, EG, 100T. So that Lev game next weekend is going to be really interesting, especially after Lev lost to Cloud9, but then went on to take down Sentinels. So, yeah, impressive result from the NRG guys. We'll see if they can maintain that going forwards, but very much interested in your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.